So, good evening. I'm Greg. I'm going to do my call to action speech now. So, I'm going to start with asking you guys a question. Can you imagine your future generations having to leave this planet because there's not enough resources left on this planet? Humans today are using resources that we need to survive, plants and animals, in unrenewable ways and unsustainable ways, causing their numbers to degrade and there not be enough for future generations to use. This could likely be a scenario if we humans today keep treating the planet as we do. According to the Environmental Protection Agency, over the past 150 years, humans have been the number one contributors of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. Greenhouse gases cause the temperature of the planet to warm, and overall, a lot of bad things to happen. So, to start with some bigger problems, again, according to the Environmental Protection Agency, transportation and burning fossil fuels for energy are the number one contributors of gases, these greenhouse gases, in the atmosphere. So, fossil fuel production of energy is burning coal and oil from the ground to create energy. Burning these things causes CO2 gas to be emitted, and the CO2 gas is the number one greenhouse gas in our atmosphere. Again, in transportation, such as driving your car, boats, planes, any like a tractor, big trucks, all these things emit CO2 when they burn their gas. Um, uh, Driving our cars, using electricity in our homes, definitely will also contribute to burning fossil fuels. Using electricity in your home is the same thing. That's where the fossil fuel energy that they get comes from to supply your house with energy. All these things emit CO2 gas. So CO2 is again the number one greenhouse gas, and that's what keeps our planet warm. It gets trapped in the atmosphere, so that heat from the sun can't escape. That's the heat from the sun that's reflected off the earth can't escape back out into space, and it causes our planet to warm up more. One of the bigger things that the warming of the planet is doing is causing the ice caps to melt. Ice caps have been frozen for thousands of years and have not melted in this past 150 years since humans have been causing the greenhouse gases to be trapped in the atmosphere. The warming of the temperature causing these ice caps to melt is causing the sea level to rise also, and sea level rise is harming low-lying islands and coastal cities. Not yet, at least, but in the future, like in the next 100 years, such as a place like San Francisco, which is where I grew up, could be underwater, actually, a lot of it. So some of the things, there's a lot of things that you can do right now to help this by especially turning off lights in your house. Like I said, again, using energy in your house, like unplugging appliances, turning off those lights when you're not using them and you don't need them, can save a lot of energy. Also, using a lot of water contributes to energy production. So when you save water, like fixing leaky faucets, not watering your plants as much, like overwatering and such in your yard, will cause a lot of water waste that's unneeded, and that causes CO2 production as well. Another big thing is driving less. You can drive less and walk a lot more. Walking, it's good for you. It saves money. You don't have to put gas in your car as often. You can bike places, ride a skateboard, all these other means of transportation that aren't your car will save CO2 emissions and save you money. So that's good. Um, so recycling is also another big thing. Recycling keeps things in a cycle. You can reuse things. It's a more sustainable way of living when you reuse things. You can save a lot of energy when recycling ends up in the landfill. It causes a lot more energy production, just even from the trucks that pick up your trash to the work that's put into burying the landfill. But when you recycle, it causes a lot of energy saving. And according to DoSomething.org, recycling one aluminum can will save enough energy to listen to a full album on your iPod, and recycling 100 aluminum cans will save enough energy to keep a light on in your room for 2 full weeks straight. In the end, if you do all these things, you can save a ton of energy and a ton of pollution from getting into the atmosphere as well. So if we look into the future, there's basically one of two things that can happen. We're either going to degrade all the resources on this planet, and our future generations are going to really have to struggle finding food from animals or plants. All the food in the oceans are dying because of the ocean acidification that's caused from CO2. All these things are valuable resources that humans need to survive. Populations won't be able to survive on the coasts, like cities will be degraded and such. But if we start to clean up our act and make the CO2 production less and less, and we can start figuring out ways to get it out of the atmosphere, we can save people tons of money in health bills. And according to the National Institute of Environmental Health Sciences, human populations most affected by pollution, so like populations closer to pollution areas or higher pollution concentrations, spend a lot more on health bills because there's higher rates of cancer and asthma and overall higher rate of annual deaths per year. So if we start to clean up our act, future generations will have sustainable resources and have enough plants and animals to survive and other things, even to make houses and build buildings, so we won't have to move off this planet. So again, there's many things you can do, and you can start small just by knowing that you have burning fossil fuels and all these other things happening when you're wasting energy in your home. So you can start just by, like I said, knowing that leaving your light on all day is causing these things to happen. So turning it off and fixing those leaky faucets can literally save you tons of CO2 emissions in the atmosphere. Again, move those legs, start walking, ride a bike. You'll be more healthy, you'll save energy, and you won't be polluting the atmosphere as you would be when you're driving. We want our future generations to have it easy, if not easier than we have it now. And if we keep treating the planet like we are today, in 100 years, future generations will have to have some way figured out to get food from plants and animals because there won't be enough the way we're treating it today. And all these little things can help and really make a difference throughout your lifetime. But overall, it's really good if you start treating the atmosphere better, because that's what's going to happen. So do you guys have any questions?
Yes, I have a question. What effects personally do you think I will face as an individual?
So if there's a lot more pollution in the future, you and your future generations will have a lot more health problems. And again, like the degradation of forests and species going extinct at the much higher rate that they are, it'll be harder to find food from all plants and animals that people need to survive.
Sad.
Yeah. Any other questions?
What personal steps can I take to reduce the pollution, like my greenhouse effect?
So like I said, if you like recycling, is really good. Turning off lights in your house, and walking a lot more. It's kind of easy, in this town where we live near a lot of stuff. You can just walk there. Turn off lights in your room, especially. Unplug the appliances when you're not using them, like such as the printer, heaters, gaming systems. Yeah.
Well,
Question?
thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, that's it. Okay. Thank you, guys. Thank you. That's my call to action speech.